Tommy shouted at Mimar Grace as soon as water splashed on his expensive shirt. She hadn't seen him because she was cleaning the marble floor with a soaked rag. When some water accidentally dripped on him, Tommy angrily called her useless and kicked her in the stomach. She fell, hurting her hip, while others watched silently, afraid to intervene because Tommy was the powerful son of a company leader. Despite the pain, Mimar Grace calmly apologized. Tommy insulted her further, mocking her and threatening her. She responded quietly but firmly, saying that one day he would kneel before her. Tommy laughed it off and left with his friends. Mimar Grace remained alone in the lobby, tired but unbroken. Mimar Grace, in pain but silent, whispered that Tommy had kicked her in the company built from her hard work. She walked away slowly in the empty lobby. No one knew she was the real owner of Apex Towers. Tommy would soon learn this. Before the incident, Tommy Akinwale was born into wealth as the only child of Chief Akinwale, a powerful businessman known as the Bull of Lagos. Though his father didn't own Apex Towers, he ran it with authority. The only person who challenged him was his wife, Madame Remy Akinwale, who came from old money and supported him from the start. Tommy was spoiled from birth, never disciplined or made to face consequences. His mother always defended him. He believed he was above others. In school, he got away with violence and blame. After graduating, his father gave him a senior executive role at Apex Towers despite his lack of experience. Tommy entered the company with privilege but no knowledge. Tommy commanded people twice his age, and the staff hated him but stayed silent because of his powerful father, Chief Akinwale. Tommy was a disruptive force, insulting drivers, throwing files at secretaries, shouting at managers, and acting disrespectfully in meetings. He enjoyed the fear and control he had over others. His father excused his behavior, saying Tommy was young and would grow into his role. But Tommy only grew more arrogant, living extravagantly and calling himself a born billionaire despite never working for anything. One morning, when a poor old cleaner accidentally splashed water on his shirt, Tommy reacted with anger, shouting and kicking her. He saw her as nothing, just someone beneath him. But he didn't realize she was the true owner of the company, and her revenge was coming. After the incident, the staff whispered in confusion, sensing something deeper. Mimar Grace did not cry or complain. She quietly left the lobby with her cleaning tools, then went to the boardroom on the 18th floor, the place she hadn't entered for 10 years. She stared at her reflection, calm but determined, carrying a decade of silence and patience. Mimar Grace had been watching quietly for years, but the silence ended with Tommy's attack. When she reached the 18th floor, the security guards were shocked to see her there. She told them to inform the board that the sleeping lion had woken. Inside the boardroom, Chief Akinwale was leading a meeting about a lucrative contract. A guard interrupted, announcing Madame Grace was waiting. The board fell silent as they realized she was the true founder and owner of Apex Towers who had vanished 10 years ago. The boardroom murmured in shock and confusion as Mimar Grace entered confidently. She was no longer the cleaner but a powerful woman reclaiming her place. She told Chief Akinwale to get up from her chair. He laughed nervously, but she silenced him. She accused him of abusing the power she had entrusted to him and condemned his son's disrespect. She revealed a brown envelope with documents proving she still owned 62% of the company's shares, legally confirming Apex Towers was still hers. The board quickly reviewed the documents. It was true. Mimar Grace investigated. Tommy went into hiding, having destroyed everything his father built with one reckless kick. If someone had told him he'd end up begging and working hard for survival, he would have laughed before the kick. The old cleaner woman stood up in the boardroom and revealed who truly owned Apex Towers. That same afternoon, Chief Akinwale lost everything. His name was removed from the company website, his portraits taken down, and security guards who once saluted him now avoided him. Investigations began into shady contracts he signed during his decade of control. Government agencies froze his accounts, seized properties in Banana Island and Dubai, and took the Range Rover Tommy used to visit clubs. The powerful Bull of Lagos was now a man fighting court cases and hiding from the media. At the center of this downfall was Tommy, the son who once boasted, "My father is my backup plan." That plan had collapsed. 3 days after the scandal, Tommy found his father in an empty office, sitting in a plastic chair, broken. Tommy admitted he didn't know Madame Grace owned the company. Chief Akinwell told him, "You destroyed everything I built with one foolish kick. Now you're on your own. Suffer the consequences." That was the last time Tommy saw him. Tommy left with nothing but his phone, a pair of jeans, and the weight of shame. At first, he thought it was temporary and reached out to old friends, but they all rejected him. His social media went silent and hunger set in. 1 week later, Tommy stood on a busy street wearing borrowed clothes and dusty slippers. He hadn't eaten in 2 days. Watching laborers carry heavy loads, he approached a foreman and asked to work. The foreman doubted him, but Tommy insisted, accepting his new reality. Tommy washed his face with sachet water and headed to the construction site. He carried bags of cement, mixed blocks under the scorching sun, and pushed wheelbarrows until his palms peeled. He coughed from the dust and sometimes collapsed from hunger. The other workers mocked him, calling him rich boy turned bricklayer. But he said nothing, too exhausted to be proud. At night, he sat alone, staring at the sky, whispering, "How did I get here?" Just when you think Tommy's life couldn't get any worse, it takes a dark turn. Hunger and shame push him into armed robbery. But what happens the night he enters the wrong house will leave you speechless. You don't want to miss it. Subscribe now to be the first to see what happens in part 2.
Weo purani safai karne wali aurat hadi hui boardroom main aur sapke samne apni asal pahcaan di hai ke Apex Towers ki asli malik kaun hai.
Ustin dopahar ka bad hai chief akin whale any sab kuch ko dia. Uska nam company ka website esi hata dia gaya. Uski tasvirian nickel di gai. Or security guards Joe Pelli uska salam kardi the ab usidor hoge.
Uske di salon que doraan ki gay du break contract ki takika shurui.
Sarkari Ider Uski Kate Freeze Car Chuk the Banana Island or Dubai main Uski Jamin Zap Car Ligai, or were Range Rover Joe Tommy Club's main Jane Kalia Istamal Karta, the Bikabza main Liagaya.
Lagos Keskiviikko, Bull, Keskiviikko nam se mashhor shaksabe kort kases mainjui rahathaur media se chup rahatha. Ies giravat Keskiviikko biik main Tommy. Veobeta jo kabhi fekre se kehtatha. Mera bap mera backup plan hai.
Wo plan ab tu chukata.
Ten din bad, Tommy apne babko ek kahali daftar main plastitski kursi par baitha hua mila, tut gayetha. Tommy ene kabol kia ke use patanahita ke Madame Grace hai company ki asal maalik hai.
Chief Akinwell ne kaho, tumne meri mehnat ko ek bevakoofi ki laat se tabach kardie.
Ab tu akela ho. Anjum bugto.
Ehi ek hridafat je chej jeb Tommy ne apne baab ko dekha. Tommy sirf epne phone, ek jinski jodi, eirs haram kea boich lekar chalogaye.
Sure main use laga ki yisab wakt kamamla hai, or usn.
Apne purane doston se madat mangi, megar ksebi ne use nazarandas kardie.
Uska social media bilkul kamosh hogeya, aur buk ne use kamzor kardia. Ek aft bad, Tommy ek bidbar rast par kada DHA, ou dark capdor dul se barjou ton mine.
Uzni du jin kush nai kayata. Jeb usne mazdoron ko behari bojhutate dekha. Tomou ek formen kej pas gaje eir kam karnki guzarishki. Formen ne jus shek ki nozar se dekha. Megar Tommy ne apni halat ko abol karliati ejčej. Tommy ne se šejkej pa oni se epne hehrat hoa eir construction site kitara včelo.
Usne cement katailai uthaye, dhop main blocks milaye, aur wheelbarrow dhaka dia jab ta uske haat phatna higaye.
Mout hol ki ajach se khansi karta, kaphi behook se behosh houjata.
Duzre matsto uskamasak udate, amir latka ab brikler bangaya. Kete, magavo chabraha itnataka hua kaefaka kane ki himat nahiti. Rat ka ovo akela baita, asman kitaraf dekta, demi avats mein puchta, mein jahan kaise pahunch gaya.
Jabab sohte hain ke Tommy ki zindaj aur badi tabahi nahi deksakti, tu aur bianda mod leti hai.
Behook eir scharam use bando klekker korikarn par mai boor kardete hain.
Lekin vorat jab vo galat ga mein guza. Tu us kahani ka anyam आपको हैरात में डाल देगा।
आप इसे मिस ना ही करना चाहेंगे।
अभी सब्सक्राइब कराइन तो के आप पहला हिस्सा देख सकें जब दूसरा हिस्सा होएगा।